get your green screen together. How's the lighting? All right, listen, we brought these little clip-on lights, right? Now, if you, hold on, excuse me, hold on. Check us out over here. We on Twitch. She got her little light over there on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now we're on the iPhone 16 Pro. Get your little light. Pull that down in the bag so I can put my light on. Hold on. Let me pull it down. But your light is bouncing off of me. I got no boogers. Okay. And then I got some little, some retouch on. I guess you don't need no extra light. I mean, you know, utilize our amenities. Okay, how was that? It's the evolution of 2025. Keep up. Now, look, check her out, because she got retouch on over here. Stop being nosy, all in my business. Uh-oh. You got she see. You just can't see us because we got our green screen on. But I do got curtains over there, too. Look, I got curtains right here. So, all right. Okay. It looks better. I like the we don't know how long the light is gonna last. But I do have a charger, and the charger is close to here. Let me cut the fans down a little bit, because I got my iPad working as the baby monitor, because Madison and Madeline is up. You know, it's Friday and they took their nap, so that qualifies them to be up late. Anybody need to be on the charger? Not yet, not right now. Let me see, before we get started. Because I do got an extra USB-C charger that I can go ahead and plug you into real quick. And then we're gonna go ahead and get started. Recap of chapter 5, tipping point. Hold on, my love. Hold on, let me snap you in. Recap of chapter 5. What's going on? Anybody? Oh, that's her light flickering. Oh. Now I charged this light. Look, I'm like, I definitely charged this light for sure. If memory serves me correct, I wonder. Hold on, because that charger ain't that long. Ooh. Hold on. I don't know if she's gonna be able to. Oh, I might have to change it. I might have to swap you. Hold. I may have to swap. I may have to put you on the charger that the iPad is using, since it's longer. And then I'll hold on. And then I guess she don't like when you charged. Or maybe did I? Hold on, let me see. I don't know. Hold on. Look, I'm like, she might not like when you charged. Let me see. Let me put this. I'm gonna swap chargers here real quick, so that way I can have you charging up. Okay. She was acting a little stank, ma'am. Okay, I know that wasn't me. Look, I'm like, I knew that wasn't me. Hit the thumbs up on your way in. We was trying to get our light together, but it seemed as though this charger is causing like an outage. Hold on, let me take it off real quick and see. Okay, nope. Let me take it off and see. Uh-oh, we got company. Look. Yes.
Mommy.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm up.
Wow. I said failed to sleep. I'm like, so I said,
She fell asleep. Oh my goodness. She took a nap. What's she doing sleep?
I was done watching my show.
I need to put like a 1 and a 2 on these so I know.
See mommy.
Uh-huh.
I got up.
Uh-huh.
I look, saw your door slide open. I said, oh, no, no,
Door is not no slight open, ma'am.
it's like a little open.
Uh-huh. And so then what?
I walked, I couldn't see, so I opened the door a little. Then I walked to the garage door.
Okay.
I opened the door.
Okay.
And I thought it was locked, so he wouldn't be in the garage. But it was open. I said, oh, wait. Oh, wow, it's mommy.
Okay. Well,
We're going to do this experiment.
well, I have my book club right now. And it's cold. See, that's why I got on my jacket. Exactly. Go and lay down. I'm not going nowhere, and I'm not doing nothing. I'm just reading my book. But it is pretty cold in here. It's the garage, ma'am. That's why I have on my jacket. For the nosy ones in the back. Yeah, he's in the dirt. I just checked on him. He's under the dirt, but I'll put the lid on there. Or you can put the lid on there. Don't put it on there all the way. That's why I had it just a little bit off. Our turtle is asleep. I had checked on him before I sat down. He was under the dirt. I was like, it's cold in here.
It's like cold in here. You always like bury yourself under the dirt. It's like a big blanket under your neck. There's one garage. It's like he comes up to the surface, so he won't be hot and he's like,
Did you shut her iPad down?
no, I'm gonna do it. Bye.
Bye. Close it. Chapter 5. What was going on? She should have said hello. She usually come in the camera and say hello. It's cold in here. I told her that. Ain't nobody but Madeline. So we left off yesterday. Technically, we started in chapter 5. But we was at Drew's office. I don't know why we was almost cuss. I don't know why we were messing with Drew. I don't know what our beef was with Drew. That somehow we was at Drew's office waving a pew-pew around. And then somehow, because of course he's the lawyer, you know, he was able to diffuse the situation, get the cops up out of here, no charges pressed. Shout out to him. And then we went to the mall, Lord. And then something happened at the mall. As soon as we ended, somebody had came up to him and, you don't remember me? Or I know you. Or we know each other. Some. But even before we went to Drew, even before we got to Drew's spot, to his to his office, there was something going on with the hair. Something's going on with the hair follicles, the scalp. Something was itching or tingling or it was something that was just, and so The hair would get shaved. There was some weight gain, and obviously some insecurities about ourselves, but some arrogance, and so we're definitely spiraling, of course. Hence the reason why this chapter is called Tipping Point. We're definitely spiraling. We don't even have to say anything about substance abuse at this point because we just automatically know it's understood. What is it? What they say? What's understood don't necessarily have to be explained. And so, with that being said, we are at the mall. The card has declined, but remember, he said that somehow he's in this manic episode, and he went to Drew, his lawyer at the time, and Drew was able to, oh no, everything's fine, nothing to worry about here, just a big misunderstanding and all that, and so now it sort of created this adrenaline boost, you know what I mean? And then the card declined, and so now there's this seesaw, this teeter-totter of up and down, and he called somebody on the phone and was trying to figure out why his card was declined, and then somebody walked up to him. And what he said when he walked up to him, let me go back to that last sentence that we left off at. He said, all he said was, "What's up, Gucci?" My God. My fists were up and I was swinging, moving around in the middle of the mall like I'd transformed it into Fight Club. I was ready to box. My opponent was playing along. His girl jumped in to break up the fight, but that didn't last very long. I stopped and started spinning and looking around for the girls that I came with, especially the one carrying the pew-pew. They were gone. Good idea. Everyone was looking at me. The mall started spinning. I heard a woman's voice say, "Hey, calm down for a second." I turned around and another woman was standing there. I didn't know her, but I trusted her. She moved me a little with her arm. She didn't pull me, but it was enough to get me to walk away. She's the one who really broke up the fight because she was able to somehow peel me away from the scene and get me out of the mall. Once we got outside, she asked me, "Where's your car?" "I came with two girls," I replied, "but now I can't even find them." She responded, "Tell me where you need me to take you." "My studio." I gave her the address. Once we got there, I couldn't find my phone, so I asked to use hers to call my day-to-day. My head was still all over the place, so I handed this stranger her phone with my day-to-day on the line so she could explain the situation for me. I was still mad at my manager about my credit card, so now I let my new friend talk to her instead. I heard them going back and forth, almost arguing, obviously, because I'm like, "What you calling me for? I don't know you. You don't know me. Put him back on the phone." Like, ma'am. I thought it was just me. As I started looking around my studio, I looked brand new to me. It looked brand new to me. Finally, the lady managed to communicate to my day-to-day that she was only trying to help. Then she ended the call. I was still looking around my studio when the itch for more trouble started. The itch. Oh, now it's an itch. You've gotten away with so much today. Go have some fun. You've earned it. What kind of fun should I have? Well, you've got some pews here in the studio. Load up. You might have lost your hand pew, but at least you've got your assault rifle. Oh my goodness. I grabbed my AR-15 and shoved it into my bag. Lord. The girl was still at the studio with me. So I asked her, can you take me to my friend's house? She was trying to ask some follow-up questions, but I was answering quickly just to get her to agree. We got into her car, and she looked down at my lap. What you got in there? She asked, pointing to my bag. I said, oh, it's just my pew for protection, flashing my AR at her. She didn't even flinch. Instead, she turned and said to me, you need to keep that pew pointed to the floor for our protection. I was a little curious why she knew so much about gun safety. She saw the look on my face. I'm a soldier, she answered to my face's question. I would have never known that since she dressed pretty for the mall. But this woman was in the military. That's how she knew how to handle me. She was talking to me like I was a soldier who fought in Desert Storm and had PTSD from the war. She saved me from the mall. But she was down. Oh, but was she down for the rest of the ride? We pulled up to my buddy's house and his wife answered the door. She told me he wasn't there. I was mad, but I also didn't even know why I was on her doorstep. Well, where is he? I asked. I was looking like there was obviously something off about me. And so when she looked at the girl's car in the driveway, she asked, who the hell is that? The whole setup looked suspicious. It was another situation that this woman had to diffuse for me. Mind you, she was only visiting Atlanta as a tourist. Oh my goodness. She was just trying to visit the mall, and instead she was playing chauffeur and therapist to a famous rapper in crisis. Not a famous rapper, Lord. The arrogance for me. I'm like, so I left. I didn't even know where to go after that. I was separated from the girls I came with. For all they knew, I was still wandering around the mall. I had no phone on me, my hand pew was with my lawyer, and I had an assault rifle in my bag. Then here was this complete stranger who stayed with me until I settled down a little bit. She knew who I was because I remember her calling her friend and saying, girl, you won't believe who I am driving in a car with. But that was the end of it. She eventually dropped me off and I never saw her again. She didn't go to the blogs after that. She didn't ask to be interviewed. She just tried to help me because she understood that I was in crisis. I never got her information, but I have to thank her because that day could have been much worse if no one was there to calm me down. Let me take a sip of this water, Lord, because in the days leading up to that moment, okay, now we got to go back a few days. Timeline be all over the place. Now we got to go back a few days. In the days leading up to that moment, I had no regard for anyone or anything. I was just with my pew-pew, looking around at people to see if they were reaching for their pew-pew so that I could pew at them. I was waiting for someone to make a move, or maybe hoping that they would. It was one constant spiral on loop where I was just looking for the next situation to get involved in. Exactly. Just looking for trouble, seeking out trouble, trying to initiate trouble, just unhinged. Completely unhinged. The rush of it all started to feel like an adventure. And that's how I knew I was entering some dangerous territory that I couldn't back out from. In the days before, I was doing silly-ish. Stop. This big old mosquito. They will bite you in the face now, y'all. Them Georgia mosquitoes hit different. In the days before, I was doing silly-ish, like asking friends for rides to my studio, then taking their weed from them and telling them to leave as they sat there shocked. And I didn't know what to make of it all. You're going to ask me for a ride and then take my gas. And then look at me like, ooh-wee. Apologize. Sorry. I was flat out robbing them. But I was stealing their weed and thinking nothing of it. It all seemed so fun to me. A natural high. Nobody wanted to be around me for too long. Maybe it was for their safety, but maybe they just hoped to see me spiral a little bit and then check out because that's easier to handle. What? No, ain't nobody want to be around you because you're unhinged. Like, what in the world? It's statements like that just. I don't know what they were thinking, what they were all thinking, right? But what I do know is that I am lucky to be alive because those. Just excuse me. I don't know what they were all thinking, but what I do know is that I am lucky to be alive because those situations could have ended someone or gotten me ended. Let me just take a break. I'm going to take a break because, reading this book right here, you have to just give yourself a minute to just breathe. Just take a minute to breathe. Don't just keep running through it. Take a minute to breathe. Let me see how many pages we got left. Okay, we got about 3 more, 4 pages. Cause, oh my goodness. He did say tipping point. This chapter is called Tipping Point, so you do have to brace yourself. I will say that somehow we lost the light over here. Let me see what's going on. Okay, she need to. So as you can see, the charge don't be lasting that long, child. If you ask me. Oh wait, I think I put this one on the charger. The charger don't be lasting long, child. It ain't about nothing. We just wanted to try it out. Hold on, let me get you off the charger, honey. We wanted to try it out just to see. You know, I'm one of them tech savvy chicks, and so somehow we were just on the charger. Somehow we were just on when the charger. Let me swap your block. But you know, child, listen. When I tell you, all it takes is all you need is a box with Home Depot. All you need is an empty box to send their people back their stuff. Excuse me, you like that word. Go on, get that back. Go on, get this. See, somehow when I put it on the charger, the problem is I don't want to have to keep you on the charger. For one, because my extension cord isn't going to reach you all the way over here. So ma'am, that's one thing I can definitely guarantee you, is that extension cord ain't going to reach all the way over here. I'm just having a hard time, like, trying to get through this book, if you ask me. And it could just be me. It could just be me. Hold on, let me cut them off, because it's... And then, I wish that we would have just got a plain light. I ain't need all that RGB. I didn't need all them people. And then this one, I think this is the one that I just took off from over there. That one need to be charged. Having a hard time getting through this book, but I mean, we're gonna get through it. It's just, I don't know. It could be the lack of accountability. That's really just kind of blowing me, because we're talking about memories, but we're writing this book. Now, technically, I mean, from what he said in the Breakfast Club interview, this book was written before Big Scar passed. Whenever that was, what was that, 2019 or something like that? But we still had time to, you know, kind of make some edits and some adjustments and things of that such. And so I'm not really getting like no real remorse. Like I'm not sensing any remorse about how we were treating people, how our behavior affected people. Like I'm not sensing any remorse. And so, you know, it's maybe it was for their safety, but maybe they just hoped to see me spiral a little bit and then check out, because that's easier to handle. See what I mean? That's negative thinking. And then and then it's negative perception about what somebody else is thinking. Well, maybe that's what they wanted. People who knew my day-to-day manager and other friends of mine were at the mall that day, calling everybody and saying Gucci's at the mall and he's trying to fight somebody. A lot of eyes saw that spiral. Only they didn't know that's what it was. You can see that nice woman pulling me from the situation and walking away with me, which is the only thing I'm grateful for that was caught on tape. People who were there have that fight filmed from every angle. burring at me on tape without realizing just how aggressive I could have gotten. Child, I'm trying to. Let me see. Hold on. Goodness. Instead, it became another genius marketing moment. Even media outlets celebrate that anniversary date like it's some national holiday. I just see it as the day I could have passed. Those videos of me are embarrassing, but are a reminder for me, of just how unwell I was. It's one thing for an everyday person to be walking around the mall picking fights with people, but it's another when you're high profile, watching your decline on film. What's the difference? Oh, right. The blogs. Okay. Oh, and the embarrassment. Oh, so you embarrassed. Every day people get their fights posted on the blogs too. World Star catch them every time. Child, look, and it's better if you just call them out in the middle of the fight. Just say, World Star, child, listen, call them out, honey. But every day people get their fights, I mean, if it's good enough, child, let them make it, honey. But, that just always seemed to be the tipping point as well. When the media gets a hold of it and, that headline and then you got to look at yourself on camera. Child, that'd be the best. That'd be the best. That'd be the best, honey, when you can show it back to him, let him see what it looked like, what he sound like, and how he was acting. That's exactly what you needed. That camera to catch every moment. I don't know why nobody have no camera at Drew. Did he have security? A security camera? I'm pretty sure somebody caught it on camera. That's what you should have caught on camera. But he always worried about the blogs and the media and oh my God. My lawyer might have let me go that day, but my pulling out that pew pew on him became a part of a bigger trial where Drew himself needed his own legal representation since he was defending me on one side, but technically a victim on the other. It wasn't something he wanted to do, but he had to do it. Exactly. It's crazy to think that you can have a client who you are defending in the court of law, but then also need defense from. And all he could say about that situation was that it seemed like I was looking through him. He was right. I didn't see him. I didn't see past my anger. It's scary to think about it now. I don't remember when the episode began, but I remember when it ended. Friday, September 13th, 2013. God, Keisha. That was all I could bring myself to say. And she was the only person I trusted enough to come help me. But help me with what? How? Keisha was still my girlfriend at the time, and she was all the way down in Miami while I was up in Atlanta. Still, I needed her here. No. Still, I needed her there as soon as possible. One of my friends called her and said, Gucci's going crazy. She was catching the first plane smoking. out of South Florida. But even the 2-hour flight was too long for what I was going through. What you going through? When Keisha landed, she kept calling me. I didn't even see the calls. I was sitting there in the airport and I didn't know it. When she finally got to me, I was lying in bed. "What's wrong with you?" she asked me. I just don't know," I replied. "Are you on drugs?" "Just weed." "Then you need to throw that weed away." "I can't throw my weed away." "Yes, you can. Flush it down the toilet." Keisha turned to my friend. Are you the one giving him the weed? Don't give him any more." "Oh," she yelled. "He's clearly sick." I lost it. What was the it? I don't know. My mind, my body, my soul, my conscience, my self-control, all of it. It was all gone. And there wasn't much that anyone could do to bring it back. To bring me back. When you cut the head off a chicken, it still runs around because the brain is gone, but the rest of the body is still moving. It can't really respond to its environment, but it's it'll still be flapping its wings until it no longer can. Keisha was the first person to ever ask me what it felt like in my head. She asked me while we lay down as I spiraled. "It's just a feeling that comes over me and I can't control it," I told her. She had me write down my priorities. So I did. I put things about my career. And then I put her. "Don't put me so close to the top," she said. "You have more. You need to get your life in order." I just didn't know how. Once my mind was gone, I was still running around and running my mouth. That is, until I stopped. A week before the mall incident and the nightmare on Boulder Crest 2 days later, I went somewhere else I shouldn't have gone. I went on Twitter. Okay, well, what happened at Boulder Crest? Because we just skipping all over the place. We done went to the mall, but then we done went back a week before. Say something. When you're about to hit your breaking point, impulsivity is high. So high that you want the attention of everyone, whether it's in public or online. I thrived off people looking at me. And then, when they looked too much, I barked at them for it. On social media, I could talk my ish, even if I didn't know what I was saying. Put my phone back in my pocket and then pick it up when I wanted to say more. The truth is, I said too much. No one was safe. They called it Twitter fingers for a reason, where you say whatever you want on social media, believing it won't have any repercussions in the real world. For me, though, even if whatever I said carried into the streets, I didn't really care. I was going to say whatever was on my vacant mind. I let it all out. I tweeted about the music industry. I tweeted about the streets. I even listed rappers one by one. And in so many different ways, I basically said, F you, to each and every one of them. I gave out some personal details and I also spread some rumors. None of it was a good idea. I had to later come back and apologize on social media to everyone for what I had said. I had to, because the ish flying out of my mouth, technically your fingers, but was enough to sever relationships with some good people forever. So I had to publicly repair it in some way, since I'd publicly started a war. It wasn't my finest hour, but it was what I know now. What I now know were the moments leading up to one big meltdown. At first, I said I was hacked, but I knew I had to come clean and acknowledge what was happening. Let's take a break. Ooh. I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break. Let me take a break. Take a brain break. Because, like, you're reading it and it's something that you just like, ooh, 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 ooh. You want to read it because it's like, ooh, ooh, what are you talking about? What's going on? What happened? What happened? And then you're like, oh, my goodness. So, I'm tough on him for sure. But you got to understand this is his third book. So, I can be that way. Look, I'm like, I can be that way. This is book 3 for him. And I'm like, okay, well, the 4th one, I'm going to need some tear jerkers or something. Some apologies or something. Because, man, you ain't finna be out here writing a book just, you know what I mean? And not really, like, coming through with the remorse. Where is the remorse? Where is the hurt, the pain? Where is, you know what I mean? The emotions. I need to feel the emotions. Episodes. Come on, tap into the episode. Tell me what happened. Like, and don't hold back. Like, be sympathetic with yourself. I just feel like he's not even being sympathetic with himself. He's just trying to blame everybody for, oh, well, I mean, like, ain't nobody tell me. Ain't nobody help me. Ain't nobody ask me. I'm like, well, we typically just let grown folks do grown folks. So, I don't really know what you want me to say. But what we started at 114. Let me see where I left off at. Twitter finger. Okay. Doctors call it a triggering cascade, where enough of everything piles up until your brain physically can't handle it. So it just shuts down. That's when you go into a full-blown manic episode, where then you're really like the chicken without a head. You have no concept of space, time, consequence, or even reality. You just finally meet your last straw. Everything happened all at once with me. Everything happened all at once with me. And it rested on my brain constantly. There was no stop and go where my brain could rest and recharge. I was on more lean than I ever had been before. So I was in this perpetual state of numbness, while at the same time still being stressed and anxious about my cases on top of cases. I was angry and frustrated. I had been on house arrest for a while, a few months before. I had broken up with my girl. Yes, Madeline.
Oh, I just wanted to see if you were still in the garage.
I'm still here.
Reading your book?
Yes.
I wish I can read.
I thought you was going to come and say hello earlier.
Hello.
You probably didn't hear me. Well, you had walked away by the time I realized. I said, well, she usually come on the camera and say hello.
Well, yeah, so iPad.
I have it called onto my my laptop. So in case Cole wake up, I can hear.
So, yeah, you have your charger so you can plug this.
Yeah, and then look, I was Child, I was over here trying to remember I had ordered these lights and they came in the mail today.
Mm-hmm.
Child, I was over here trying to use these doggone lights and they wasn't even working, honey. They look, she ain't working. Let me take it. See, ain't even working, honey. Yeah, now it is, but it wasn't earlier. Hold on, let me
Which
clip
one
it on
are
there.
you on?
Hmm.
Which sentence are you on?
Right here. Almost finished. And then I gotta charge this one.
Okay,
Child,
episode.
they don't keep a charge at all. Like, I mean, you really, I'm gonna have to get another extension cord. A longer extension cord.
They want to get a thermometer.
What I need a thermometer for?
Just to check.
Careful.
And you still get the thermometer. If you put it, if it's so cold, then you put it in the house.
Well, remember, that's why I said I gotta order the light. Order him another light. Or order me another light. I don't even know why I got rid. Well, don't get me started, Lord.
It's so cold.
Why you keep coming in here?
I don't know.
Well, I'm still in here. But you know it's cold. See what I mean? Look, it came on, it came off. Oh, that ain't, look, I'm like, she was on the charge, and
I can play with Madison because she's sweet. When I went into my game, it was like all spooky. Hobbies.
well,
Where is this guy?
that mosquito been flying all in my face. I'm talking about doing the most.
When I'm in the back, when we come to that entrance, bro, I'm eating it.
Okay, I think we, hold on, let me see.
That's a long video we have.
What time? I'm on an hour right now. I'm trying to figure out if I should stop and just finish tomorrow. Where did I start off at? Almost. Give me a second. Okay, give me a second, Madeline. I'm almost done. Or get myself to a stopping point.
Do you gonna go back in the back?
Go back and lay down.
Oh. Lights on.
Right.
What did that mean?
Child, he, having these episodes, honey. I told you that mosquito is just trying to bite somebody. Exactly. Move bad. I started to turn away from anyone trying to offer me any help or comfort. Here I was violating probation, catching new charges. Then another case came popping up, and then it all started happening over again. All while knowing deep down that jail would one day soon become prison. Add to that no sleeping, barely eating, but still being bloated and still trying to make my music. It's a wild ride when you feel nothing, yet anything can set you off. I felt a deep pain and fear inside and just kept burying and burying and burying. I wanted to have everyone else feel the pain that I was suppressing. I dropped a song in the middle of it all called Stealing. And it wasn't hard to record that at all when it was just me brooding with my thoughts. Whatever ones were left. I felt like a damn joke, and I needed to change that. Yeah, I rob and steal. I Kill, Meal, Bitch. I fired as many shots as I could and called some artists out by name. I also held no punches when it came to needing my lean. Man, I need some lean Caulfield. Call them quick, call them now. Call them effing right now. Tick, tick, tick. A triggering cascade. And there were triggers all right. One was right in my hand. Take out your pew-pew. There was no more reasoning with the voices in my head. I just did as I was told. Go and lay down. It's too cold in here for you. Go. Something had to give me orders so the rest of me could just act on command. All I had left in me was to do as I was told. I can't tell you how many days this lasted. All I have are hazy memories. Lights out, lights on. The Glock in my hand didn't only feel like a source of power, it was also like a handlebar or a railing that I had to hold on to for support. Without it, I might topple over. The weight of the grip in my palm guided me as I stumbled along the road, swinging my steel weapon from side to side. Talk your ish. Anyone who passed me on the street felt my wrath. The threats were just falling out of my mouth. The more scared the people looked, the better I felt. It was like an adrenaline rush with every frightened face. My strength came back tenfold. It was as if I got plugged in by their fear. So what did I do next? I started cornering people. Act like you're arresting them. You're the police now. Put your hands behind your back. They probably got a pew on them too. I started patting the person down, check their pocket. As I dug through their pockets, I didn't find anything significant. These were just people on the street. What could they possibly have? A few dollars? Bag of weed? I'd take that. But I didn't need their money. If I found some, I just throw it all back in their face. It's the harassment and the bullying for me. Then I just laugh and walk away. You know, there's so much more going on when you pretend to rob somebody. It's as if you are past the point of even using violence as a tool to get something you need. Now you're just doing it to inflict pain and suffering for the moment. I reached full-on beast mode. I was acting like somebody who broke out of jail and still had the chains on him, dragging the remaining broken chunk of cinder block behind him. I went from numbing the days before to pure rage now, and everyone had to pay the price. Lights out, lights on. When I reached my breaking point, the only thing I wanted was familiarity in a world that felt like I didn't know anything at all about it. Since I was on autopilot, my body had to guide me to places that I knew to go by heart, that I knew to go by heart. So I went back to my old neighborhood, down the same streets I walked when I was 13 years old, trying to catch the bus. It was like a magnet for me, being pulled back to the hood. I was all alone, wearing a white wife beater, just walking. A huge artist with platinum plaques, a Ferrari, and songs on the radio, walking down the street. I walked up to a guy who I knew owned a food truck. "What's up, Gucci? You want some wings?" he asked. "Yeah," I replied. While he was standing inside the truck fixing my wings that he was about to give me for free, I began to walk closer and entered the truck. "I bet he's got some money in there." "Nah, Gucci, don't worry. I got your food right here," he said. He threw me off with that. He threw me off with that, then handed me my wings. This mosquito will bite me in the face if I don't. He survived a potential robbery. Being in my old hood had more eyes on me, but from people who knew me as a little kid. They called my old homeboy's mama, who pulled up and asked me if I needed a ride somewhere. I got in the car with her and I asked her for a ride to the studio. She took me there. Lights out, lights on. I was back on my old block again. I passed the gas station across the street where my homeboy himself shouted, "Hey, Gucci." They must have called him too. I walked across traffic to reach the gas station. Horns started beeping, cars were swerving. I was in a dream state where I was playing a video game. No consequence, no potential injuries, no remorse. My homeboy said to me, "Hey, Gucci, why don't you get in the car? Who does he think he is?" "Nah," I replied. People started gathering around. They were all trying to rob you. My homeboy started telling people to disperse. "It's okay. Gucci's just going through something." He said, "I got it covered. He's my buddy." "What'd he call you?" "I ain't your effing buddy," I retorted. Lights out, lights on. Strangers stopped being fun. So now I had to hit my friends. "You can't trust your buddy. He's robbing you. You gotta go handle him next." Lights out, lights on. I was holding my pew-pew, standing on my buddy's porch, ringing the doorbell nonstop. It was just me and my Glock. I don't even know how I got there, but I was ready to fight him and the 5 or so other guys at his house. I know they were scared of me. They had to be. Not because they couldn't take me. There were so many of them, but because I obviously looked insane. So nobody knew what I was capable of. Not even me. But instead of going outside, they did the best possible thing for themselves and the worst possible thing for me. They called the police. I had already left and was walking down the street by the time the police pulled up to me. I laughed. I wasn't scared of them. I wasn't scared of anybody. My pew-pew in my hand was my safety net. Who was really gonna defeat me? They could try though. The team of police lined up around me. I just stood there. "Put your pew-pew down," one of them said. "They can't talk to you like that." "Put your pew-pew down," I replied. The cops didn't feel like a threat at all to me. I felt superhuman. The pew-pew was like this suit of armor where I knew that they couldn't hurt me without me hurting them right back. I felt like a knight, and my pew-pew was my sword. I was winning this war whether they liked it or not. I stood there with my chest puffed out. I didn't come to play with the police. I didn't come to talk. I came for a fight. Little did I know that the fight for my life was just about to begin. Okay, let's stop there. Let me see, because I only have 3 pages left. Let's push through. Let's push through, and then we'll be on chapter 6. Let's push through. Let's push through these last 3 pages. I think we can make it. Deep breath, deep breath. Okay, because lights out and then lights came back on. Okay. We got a quote from Ralph O'Neal. I noticed that Gucci was observing his health more. That's the first thing I noticed. He cared about his health and just what he was taking into his body, eating, and just his physical health. Then later I started to see the mental, because you don't want to try to judge people and do none of that in there. And do none of that in there. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't. I had to read it twice because I didn't know what you was talking about, but whatever. But when you see a person They lead by example. They're not telling you what they're doing, but you see them. He's studying something, reading something, and then he might toss a book to me. That's just how it was. So I noticed the physical and then the mental. Terre Haute, I think it's Terre Haute. I had never been to Terre Haute, Indiana, until I had to live there for 3 years and 5 months. The outside of FCI, Terre Haute, almost looks like a big high school with its brick architecture. You can only tell it's a prison by the spiraled barbed wire fences that surrounded it. Terre Haute has an interesting history when it comes to its prison system. In 1943, they started doing medical experiments on their inmates, infecting them with diseases and then testing treatments out on them. The experiments lasted about a year, and the inmates were paid $100 for their time. The only inmates not allowed to participate were the mentally ill. It was 70 years later when I walked through those prison doors, and I'd like to believe the inmates weren't all guinea pigs by the time I got there. When I sat in the courtroom many months earlier, there was no way I couldn't plead guilty. I knew deep down in my heart that something had to give. When I hopped on Twitter a week after my arrest to state my apologies, I also admitted to being addicted to lean for a decade. It was something I had to do. I had to face my fears. I had to face my demons head on. And now I was facing my prison term. I spent 11 months in a combination of the county jail and then a federal holding facility where I waited for my sentence. It was a year or so before I got to my final destination. I had pleaded guilty to firearms charges, but my crimes were cumulative. You can't say it fast. Cumulative in the eyes of the Atlanta court. If they had been sick of me in the past, then they were really done with me by the time of my sentencing. 3 years and 3 months was the original sentence. I had to turn in my pews, pay $5,000, and agree to mental health treatment once I got out of prison. There's something ironic about sentencing. For years, I was told that my behavior was a direct result of my addictions and that there wasn't much else to do other than stop taking drugs. But when it came time to decide my fate and later go back into the world, my mental health was the priority. Regardless of what anyone else had in store for me, I went into prison with plans to leave as a different man. Somehow, luckily, Terre Haute was on the same page as I was. When I first got to the prison, I had to go through orientation just like every other inmate, where they go over all of the prison rules, the regulations, and some of the programs available while you're there. Most inmates get to decide on programs they want to apply for, but then their housing is determined by the prison. For me, though, they had already decided on the program that I would be in and where I would be living. It was in a special unit with a program attached called the Challenge Program, where counselors were there to help you and offer you guidance. Since this was a penitentiary level prison, the program was pretty hardcore. It combined behavioral health with mental health and addiction treatment. It was offered to people who used substances or sold them. The other inmates had to apply for this program. In order to be eligible, they had to be approved by doctors and clinicians on top of the course. They'd go through a series of interviews and a whole lot of other things just to see if they could get accepted into the program. They were mainly people serving life in prison, but this program allowed them to graduate and move over from the maximum security prison we were in to a medium security one closer to their home states. That way, their families could visit them more freely. There were a few guys who weren't serving life, but for the most part, this program was to help people who were never leaving. Let me cut it down. It gets loud and then it gets... Okay, let me hold on just a second. Let me get this charger up right. We just gonna end chapter 5 and keep moving. Keep it moving, Lord. I ain't got but 2 pages left. I'm almost done, Madeline. I ain't got but 2 pages left. You should have. Why you keep coming in here? You ain't got no jacket. Looking at. It's a blanket in there, ain't it? It's blankets everywhere. Grab your blanket. I just took them out of the dryer. Hold on. Let me find my place. Okay.
I wanted to come in here so when you're done, I can say bye.
I could have texted you.
Oh.
Right. Do you want me to just text you?
No, I can stay here.
It taught life skills like conflict resolution, the de-escalation of violence, and other things. So, for example, if you're in the lunch line and someone bumps into you, this program teaches you techniques to not let one little moment escalate into a fight. Sorry, my mic's out.
What else do you put that in?
So they could charge. Violence was a big problem in the prison system, so I guess this was a way to get it down some. The program didn't shave any years off your sentence, but the incentive was eventually being closer to the people that you loved. If I was told that this program was an option with no shortening of my sentence, I would have immediately said, hell no. Bad enough, I was in prison, but now I had to do a whole bunch of other stuff. For what? That didn't make any sense. But when I got there, they dangled the carrot in front of me. They told me, we knew you were coming, and we have this program that we are already letting you into. The incentive for me was that they weren't giving me a roommate. That was all they needed to offer to convince me. It wasn't the best situation being there, but this option wasn't the worst. I was still housed in the same area with guys serving life, so the ish I'd see every day was not pretty. I was able to go back to my own room, though, work out all day as I pleased, and read my books even when it wasn't quiet time. I'm glad I did participate in the program because I did get a lot out of it. It gave me tools to prepare me for the outside again. Every day followed a set schedule. It was almost like going to school. You'd wake up, go to class, and then the counselors would come talk to you. They'd even talk to you about substances and alcohol addiction. They taught me some good lessons. For example, if you're out in a car with your buddies and someone starts smoking, you have a whole dialogue ready. You tell them you can't be around that stuff anymore, and if they don't listen to you, then you can leave that car and take another ride home. The program ran you through a bunch of scenarios and possible outcomes, so you would have those tools in your toolbox if any conflict happened. The whole program is about 9 months to a year. When the inmates finish, they can put in their request to be transferred to another prison. Since I didn't have enough time on my sentence to do all of that, I was given the option to just stay where I was. I had no roommate, and I was still able to participate in more sessions whenever I wanted to attend. The rest of the time, I was working out, reading, writing, and sending out emails to keep my business going. I feel like being at this facility was God's plan for me. This wasn't a local decision, but I believe one decided by the prison executives in Washington, D.C. In reality, I could have been in a medium security prison near my family. It could have been an effed up experience where I was mistreated by the prison staff, the prison staff for who I was, which wasn't out of the ordinary for inmates like me. Plus, relapsing into my old life when I got out would have been a strong possibility. I had to be in a maximum security prison around people who were never getting out, but were trying hard in this program to at least get some normalcy, to really see how this was going to be the last time I would set foot in a prison. For the most part, it was a smooth ride. I witnessed a lot of horrific and nasty stuff in that prison, but it was more like being a fly on the wall. I didn't try to fight with anybody, and nobody tried to fight with me. There was a mutual respect, and then one that was shared by the counselors once they saw that I didn't come to play around. I had much worse experiences in the prison system before Terre Haute, like when I was in the hole at Jackson State Prison where I saw a bunch of rat holes and roaches crawling around. There was no air conditioning, so inmates would be in their boxers while they delivered boxes of ice. Pure torture. It's what I'd like to call living through the scariest movie. When they treat you like an animal, it's no wonder why some people leave prison acting like one. It wasn't like that at Terre Haute. But during my time there, I had an opportunity to sit and think about all of my experiences in the prison system. I tried to count, and I think I had been to a combination of about 10 prisons and jails in my lifetime. I saw some crazy-ish during those times. People fighting the guards, stabbing other prisoners, all of that. But what I also saw were the decaying minds of the inmates. People would come into the prison effed up on meds, trying to dry out and getting sick from withdrawals. They would get violent, so the guards would start beating them up. It's pretty tragic when you think about it because a lot of these people were just mentally unwell. And they're having episodes where they need some kind of help. Instead, they're getting punched and kicked, all while being sick to their stomachs from the poison leaving their bodies. Of course, they didn't come to jail to dry out. They came to jail because they'd committed crimes. The drying out happened while they were there. But it makes you wonder if the crimes would have happened without the drugs. Who knows? I was one of those guys who committed a crime, got to the jail all effed up, got sick and dried out there, and was eventually just back on the street again. Sometimes they knew to check me into a facility, but other times I was just passed around the court system. My time at Terre Haute changed my life. It wasn't just the program or the counselors, but also the time I got to spend working on myself. I'd never had that opportunity to just sit still with no substances in my system and no hustle going on. My brain got to rest for the first time in my adult life. My motivation to change, though, didn't just come from within. I had a friend in prison. His name was Ralph O'Neal. Originally, Ralph was serving 2 life sentences for the devil's dandruff possession. He had 5 kilos on him and another 50 grams. But he also suffered from addiction himself. Ralph served 14 years of his sentence, but eventually got his time reduced through a combination of President Trump's First Step Act, which made President Obama's Fair Sentence Act retroactive. When he came before a judge, the judge ruled that he had done enough time. With a few years to spare, when President Biden came into office and enforced the CARES Act, Ralph was able to be released on home confinement because he went through the challenge program and also served 50% of his sentence. His release was a miracle. His release was a miracle in so many ways. But when Ralph and I were in prison together, we shared a similar mindset. We both wanted to get better by eating better, sleeping better, focusing on exercise, and reading as much as we could. We both used our time to our advantage. Ralph had a much longer sentence than I did, but he inspired me. I watched someone change his life right in front of me, and he motivated me to change mine. To this day, we've stayed friends. That is the end of chapter 5.
Oh, so you're not reading the book?
No, I'm just done with chapter 5. We will take care and handle chapter 6 tomorrow. I believe we have like snacks of chapters now.
Oh, wow.
Chapter 6 is not a long chapter. She literally has 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll definitely. So. I know. Go ahead, my love. In the meantime, in between time, okay. Love you. Bye. Wow.
Yeah, can I say bye?
Yeah, of course.
Bye. Bye. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Make sure to like and subscribe. Mwah. Mwah.